Hello and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
You sound different, Nelson. Something is not the same about you.
No, that's how I do the intro every time.
We're off to an absolute flying start.
We need better equipment for me at home.
Yeah, I was going to say, mate, you need better equipment.
Yep.
I sound buttery smooth as always.
And the only way to do that is for listeners to donate 10% of their yearly salary.
You know what's even more embarrassing? This is so behind the scenes that people definitely won't care. But at the beginning of the recording, I stopped and said, your microphone sounded a bit weird, and we started again. But I'm realizing that the program we use on the rare occasion we need to record separately, I actually don't hear your final audio until after the recording.
Yeah.
And it is very possible it sounded fine actually all along.
Maybe it's fine. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyway, off to a flyer.
Here's one, Cambo.
Yeah.
Just to get straight into it.
Sure.
Actually, this was cross-posted to us by Gone Emotionally. But it was originally by Xiaomi Enjoyer. I don't think that's how you pronounce that. The title is Fans Have More Creativity Than the Studios.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And this was a video. So we can't really talk about it in detail. But it was a guy who was like at I want to say like Comic-Con or something like that.
Some kind of convention. Yeah.
And dressed up as a Jedi. And he had like he was doing like Jedi moves with his lightsaber, but the cool thing was he had like a bit of string or maybe like fishing wire attached to his lightsaber, and he was kind of swinging it around his way. Or he was a Jedi. These are the two possibilities. Yeah. I didn't actually, not until now did I consider he could have actually been a Jedi. But I put it on here because I thought it looks really cool, and people should check it out. It's cross-posted to our subreddit.
Yeah.
If you want, it's a cool guy doing cool Jedi tricks.
Yeah.
But also the title of Fans Have More Creativity Than the Studios is pretty wild to put on some dude in Comic-Con with a bit of string on his lightsaber. I'm pretty sure that's somebody's reaching there.
That's the bit that really confused me, because I agree. It's a cool trick. Like it looks really, really like creative for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I understand the sentiment that they're trying to get at, whether or not you believe it or not.
Yeah.
That video and that comment, I don't get how they are combined, because they do some pretty incredible stunt work in the movies.
Yeah, exactly. They do lots of really cool shit.
Yeah.
And some people like the Star Wars movies a lot, I would say. Could you imagine if in one of the movies they're like, guys, what we're going to do instead is we're going to have one of the actors with a piece of string on the lightsaber and do some cool dance moves. I think I reckon the audience would be like, this is terrible. Why would they put this in the movie?
It's that thing of like when you scale things up, because on a Comic-Con floor, that looks really cool. But if you saw that in a $200 million movie, you'd be like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Has he just got a piece of string?
Yeah. Okay, I have another one here. This was originally by Angelic Venom, but it was cross-posted to us by This Is Cambo.
Jury's out on who that is.
I think we've incepted the podcast. This is like a dream within a dream type thing. Anyway, you found this one.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great after reading it. I didn't actually realize that you posted this one until after I read it. And I was like, Cambo knows. Cambo knows this podcast. This is the type of crap we like to talk about.
Yeah.
Anyways, in the subreddit, Mildly Infuriating, it said, my friend throws away their ceramic plates instead of washing them. And this is just a series of screenshots of texts.
Yeah. Do you want to read one person? I can read the other if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Okay.
Who would you like to be?
I'll be the first person.
Okay. Yeah. This is the text exchange that someone has shared on Reddit.
Yeah. There's also Yeah, okay. It also starts a little bit through the conversation.
Yes, yeah. It starts we start in action.
Yeah. Like fine china?
No, it's just like bowls and plates that I can't be bothered to wash.
What the fuck? Like plastic plates or?
No, ceramic.
That's horrendous. That's so wasteful. Why are you doing that?
Because I don't want to wash it?
Then wash it later? You're wasting so much money. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No. I'm not buying more bowls. No, they genuinely just keep appearing.
No. What the fuck do you mean? You chuck ceramic shit away.
Like, my dad and brother keep buying them, and they keep getting gifted.
Because you can't be bothered to wash them?
Yes, correct.
You'll have a Weet-Bix and then throw it away. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, not every time, obviously.
No, I have never done that. Ever. Not even once.
But yes, Weet-Bix bowl that I can forget to rinse out is a high contender for the bin when the Weet-Bix has gone dry and it gets hard on the bowl.
Soak it?
Or I can just chuck it.
Why not just soak? No, because then all your plates would go.
Well, I still have plates, don't I?
No, but plates are like 15 quid a piece.
Listen, nothing will top you pouring water on your carpet in your room because you didn't want it anymore. Listen to me. I have a curse. I have a curse.
You're stupid.
I always come into ceramics. I'm alone downstairs.
You are stupid.
Currently, I myself own 6 plates in 5 bowls.
You are so stupid.
What the fuck am I gonna do with all that?
You are so horrendously stupid.
You're jealous.
No, I'm not.
You're too weak to understand, genuinely. One of the most unhinged text exchanges I've ever seen.
That is so bizarre. I think I like some parts of this where like even just right towards the end where he's like, no, this is nothing compared to you pouring water in your bedroom floor carpet because you don't want it anymore. Which, by the way, is also insane, but like just not as insane as like throwing out ceramic bowls.
I would love to know how old both of these people are.
Yeah, but even just like the guy saying he always comes into ceramics, like they're just there. It's
they just happen
just around. People gift them to them all the time. It's like why even worry about it?
I just happen upon them. I don't know what it is.
Do you know? So my but perhaps some context that people I don't know don't think about often. I sometimes do because my partner Ellen is she's a potter.
Yeah,
I suppose at least occasionally she does more like arty stuff. But the sort of within the community, there's this idea that you shouldn't fire anything. Obviously, the idea of, you know, mold something from clay and then put it in an oven, that being firing.
Yep.
So don't fire anything unless you're like really happy with it and you're going to use it, because clay is actually a finite resource. And there's like different types of clay. And yeah, it's the idea that actually ceramics, you know, there could be a day in the world where we're not using ceramics anymore because people have thrown them out when instead of washing them. So, yeah, this grinds my gears a little bit more, just kind of knowing and thinking about that. Like, it's not even about the waste to yourself. It's like this is a stupid thing to do.
It's like I think that there was stories years ago about Justin Bieber was a Calvin Klein like spokesperson, model, ambassador.
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, I'm assuming in jest, he had said like, oh yeah, they send me so many underwear, I'll just wear them once and then I can throw them away. Yeah. And it's like, but if there's a kernel of truth to that, I'm fucking furious.
Yeah, exactly. I know, again, like, I don't know how true this is, but I heard Michael Jackson only let Blanket, I think, it's his kids, right?
Yeah.
Would only let him play with the toy once, and then it would get thrown out.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't even know if it was thrown out,
Yeah.
but hopefully it was at the very least donated or something.
Yeah. But like
but-
insanity. This actually reminds me of an old sketch that was satirical from Australian comedian called Troy Kinney, in which he was telling his wife that he's discovered a magic table. And he's like, it's crazy. If I leave my clothes on this table,
yeah.
I don't know why, but I'll come back the next day and they're washed and put away.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I always come into ceramics. Screams to me. His parents being like, for God's sakes, we need to buy more plates and bowls.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's happening with these? Where are they going? I can imagine his dad's like, it's up late 3 a.m. in the morning with a shotgun in his hands, just in the corner of the kitchen, just waiting for something to come out and steal the plates.
I also love the kind of the vibe of like, I'm not crazy. I don't throw away every plate every time.
That would be crazy.
Just if they're in any way difficult to clean.
Yeah. To be fair, one of his points is valid. The Weet-Bix, if that crusts over, that's a pain.
Yeah,
it's a pain to wash off.
You kind of chipping away at that.
What's that?
You kind of chip away at that to get it all off.
Yeah. That's true. You need tools.
Yeah.
To get the Weet-Bix off at that point. Or you could soak it like his friends said. that does also work.
Yeah. Jury's out on that one.
Out, actually.
Yeah. Because what we've learned is if you really, really dedicate to this kind of lifestyle, you'll come across some ceramics.
Yeah. I'm thinking about doing it just to sort of see if it happens.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's funny because I have been, as mentioned, Ellen is a potter. But, you know, we've said, oh, it'd be great if you could make some plates for us. But maybe the problem is she's like, well, but we've got plates.
Yeah.
I have not realized, I've not connected the dots and realized, she's waiting for me to throw out the plates when they get a little bit dirty. So, anyway, I'll give that a go.
Yeah. Next time you have Weet-Bix on a plate, obviously.
Yeah. How common are Weet-Bix in? That was clearly, they said quid, so that was clearly.
Yeah. They call them Weetabix.
Wait, no, they called them Weet-Bix though.
It was Weetabix.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I just misread it, did I?
Yeah. I think they
did.
They're essentially the same. They're a brick of wheat.
They're completely different. Okay, obviously.
Well, our friends from the UK and Ireland would tell us that they are different and better.
Yeah, but we obviously know they're wrong.
Actually, we can't slag them off anymore. One of them has started listening.
Here's what everybody from the UK should know. Okay, the history is that the UK invaded everywhere, and what happened is you took your terrible food to everywhere else. Okay, you had boring, tasteless food. You took it everywhere else. And the rest of the world was like, there's one thing that we can keep, and that's our food, except Australia, we don't really have traditional dishes, so to speak.
Well, we have damper, which you cook in the ground.
Which
for some reason never caught on anywhere else. What do you want to do? Stick that in the ground. And everyone's like,
Yeah. Ground food. Yeah. You guys get it.
That being said, to be fair, damper's actually very nice.
It's just bread.
For those of you, it's like bread, and you normally put like a sultana or something in it. That bit doesn't seem traditional, I'll be honest. I don't know if the First Nations people of that land were putting some sultanas into their damper.
Yeah. And honey and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Actually, do you know what this is like? Just, I'm going off on a tangent here. But a very good native fruit of Australia is called a key lime. Oh, wait, key lime? Oh, no, finger lime.
Yeah.
It's like a really interesting, it's like a it's like got pearls almost, you could say, inside the finger limes, and it is very kind of limey, but slightly different citric taste. And anyway,
Nelson,
like very good.
Before we move on to the next segment, which I think we are going to imminently, who would have thought this podcast would become a fruit discussion place? Because we mentioned an apple that is red on the inside.
Yeah.
A couple episodes
ago. And then Zimbo posted a picture in our Discord.
We've had correspondence about this fruit.
Write in with your finger lime posts.
Or show us the damper you've cooked in the ground.
Yeah. Something like that. All right, let's get into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit was cross-posted to us by Gone Fish Caking, but it was originally by Alternative Tree 3283. What's your I put that shit on everything sauce?
Well, the problem I have with this post is that is the tagline for Frank's hot sauce. And
yeah.
Frank's hot sauce is probably that shit I put on everything, or hot sauce in general. We have a big collection of hot sauces in our cupboard, and hot sauce goes on pretty much everything.
Yeah. Hot sauce on everything?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the real answer is probably like salt. Oh, that's not a sauce, is it?
No, it's not a sauce. Oh, no, we're going to get into a conversation about what's a sauce and what's a soup. And
looks. Sauces in a bottle.
Okay.
For this particular post, let's just say.
Okay, but by the end of this, I'm going to come up with something. Oh, so beer is a sauce then, Cambo? Gotcha. No, it only took me a second.
I'm saying that soups wouldn't be in a bottle.
Yeah, but you're saying beer is. They're no sauce.
I don't think that was the point.
Well, that's what you said. So
I guess it is then.
And you put beer on everything. So.
Yeah, it's true.
So I thought mine for this is probably okay. So hot sauce I definitely put a lot on. But here's the thing. My sister-in-law, she puts hot sauce on everything. And I mean like everything. So I don't feel like I can claim it.
Right.
Because I know someone who just absolutely everything. There's not, and I've eaten meals with you, and I can say just as a comparison, you don't put as much hot sauce as she does.
Oh no.
This is like every meal.
I would not say I'm like a crazy hot sauce person. I'm saying if I'm putting sauce on something, normally I would choose a hot sauce.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's like nuts to me how often she puts normally just sriracha actually, which is pretty good. Okay, but bit
cowardly, but okay.
So cowardly. No, actually, you know what? I reckon sriracha is like I reckon it's a good amount actually.
Yeah.
It's spice.
It gives something just a little kick. Which is generally what you want. Like on eggs or something, you know.
Yeah. And like, my sister-in-law likes spicy stuff, but it was funny because after we did our hot wing challenge a very long time ago now, I gave her one of the hotter ones, and she was like, "What the fuck is this?" It's like this. It's like it just burns instantly. Like there's no flavor or anything. It's just burning sensation. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, that's what you like.
Yeah. That's your thing. You tell me.
That's so funny.
I put that shit on everything sauce is probably soy sauce.
Oh, yeah, it's a great one.
It's the one I think I'd put on the most stuff. But I'm also aware that it's like pretty much, most sauces probably aren't very good for you.
Oh, yeah.
It's just stuck in my mind that soy sauce is a lot of salt.
Yeah.
And so, I probably when I was younger, I think I'd put it on more stuff. When I was younger, I'd be like, I've got some leftover rice in the fridge, but no like sauce topping, like no ingredients to go with that. So I'd just whack some soy sauce on some plain rice. I'm like, that's a meal. That's a good meal right there.
Yeah, soy sauce, especially because I would say your palate leans more Asian cuisine generally. So I feel like it pairs a lot better with a lot of stuff that you would be eating more regularly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I haven't put soy sauce in much of the Italian cooking. I'd say. But now that I say it out loud, I am really tempted to put soy sauce on like bolognese.
Well, I was about to say like soy sauce and spaghetti would be an interesting combo, and then I was like, that's noodles, isn't it?
that's noodles. Yeah. You need to put it with some tomato, paste and stuff, some passata. That's the fusion.
Yeah.
Then you can open a restaurant, Canberra, and charge people like $1 million for it. That's what fusion is, by the way. It's two things that you're like, this is insane to go together, but somebody will pay a lot of money for it.
and we do.
And we do. That's what we do. All right, Gambo. Let's move on into Today I Advise. So now it's time for Today I Learned. What Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned was cross-posted to us by Waves of Misery, but it was originally by Ralph Bernardo. Today I learned about the cocktail party effect, our brain's ability to focus on one conversation in a noisy room. This ability lets us tune into specific voices while filtering out background chatter and even pick up important words like our name, even when we are not paying attention.
Yeah, this is so fascinating. Anything like this where you learn that your brain does this like automation, I find so interesting because it's so true. You'll be at a party with hundreds of people sometimes talking at once.
Yeah.
Yet full comprehension of the person just in front of you.
Yeah. My nightmare, though, also, I would say, I hate being in a really noisy room. In fact, this happened to us the other day. There was a group of us. There was 5 or 6 of us. 5 of us. And we went to a pub. And to be fair, we were like right in front of the speaker that the music was coming out of. And I think we all just kind of like looked at each other. We were like, we're too old. We're too old for this.
Too noisy, too loud.
We went downstairs to the much, much quieter bar down there.
We sat in an area that was like closed.
Yeah. The guy was like, I guess you could sit up there. We were like, absolutely. Good. Sold. How many people? No one. Yes, we'll be up there. Thank you.
We had like an entire floor to ourselves because we didn't want any noise.
That was after we did go through a secret entrance, literally secret entrance to their basement bar, only to realize that it closed. Then we were like, it wasn't open. The door was open. Then we turned around to get back up and the door wouldn't open. Yeah. We were just like, what do we do?
What people never represent in movies, when you have a secret bookcase that becomes a door that opens up into a secret compartment, which is what this was.
Yeah.
Is when that clicks behind you and you realize you can't get out.
Yeah, that doesn't often happen in the movies. This is really awkward. We were like, oh shit. I was like, I'm going to have to call the restaurant and be like, hey,
we're in your bookcase.
We're downstairs. But luckily somebody was going past, or maybe they saw us go in or something. It took them a little while, or I don't know. Anyway.
Which is funny because there are times that your brain doesn't do this automatically. Like, there's a thing that is a very common occurrence. If you're in a car, radio on, music playing, whatever, but you're looking for a street name, people will turn down the music or the radio or whatever to better concentrate reading.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly that one doesn't automate.
Yeah, there is something funny about... But then, okay, here's on the flip side. If I'm at work, I will concentrate much better, much better, if I've got instrumental music playing through my headphones.
Is that because it filters out other noise?
Yeah. But like, I mean, even silence. Like, even in compared to silence.
Yeah.
I think if I'm like working on some code or something that like I know I just need to focus on and think about. I want to have like some ambient noise.
It's funny that like, yeah, your brain needs certain amount of stimulation like outside of what you're doing. Like I would say that if I were to listen to an audiobook, just sitting in a chair or whatever, listen to an audiobook, that would be too dry. I wouldn't be able to concentrate. But if I am driving, which takes up some mental capacity obviously to do, the audiobook is exactly the right level where I absorb it really well. Is
it really?
Yeah.
See, I would miss stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I absorb audiobooks way. If there's
that
nothing
makes me think you're paying less attention to the road.
Honestly, it sounds like that's what it would be, but it's not because my primary focus is driving, but just like through. I guess
this is going to be one of those situations where you're like, you know, in The Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like, thankfully, I made it without a scratch. That's going to be you. And your car's like on fire and you step out like, doo-doo-doo. What a great audiobook that was.
But I hear people say the same thing about podcasts. Some people say, I can only listen to podcasts when I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think maybe it's something about the conversational patter of the human voice or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of like that with podcasts, but the difference is there isn't one podcast where I'd say I'm listening to 100% of the words.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, I feel like I can lose some of the conversation and then like tune back in when so I listen to the podcast when I go to the gym and stuff. And most of the time that's like pretty mindless, but occasionally I might be thinking about, you know, something else. Might go my wine water a little bit while I'm working out. And then, but I'm like, oh, I missed a bit of this conversation. Oh, well, unless the hosts are like cracking up laughing. And I'm like, oh, I missed a funny joke there. Then I normally I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll pick up on context what they're saying.
No need to rewind.
Yeah.
I will say it's not just driving, by the way. It's any other task I'm doing. If I'm doing the dishes or, you know, fixing my lawn or whatever. If I'm doing a task that I do repeatedly that I know pretty well, then for some reason audiobooks sink way better into my brain if I'm doing that thing.
Yeah, yeah. With this particular today I learned the cocktail party effect. Do you think that so I'm always interested when stuff like this comes up about how the human body is adapted. And I want to know, do you think this was, you know, evolutionary based? At what point did we start like being able to distinguish? And like maybe it was in caveman times, and it's like, I don't know, windy weather and storming or something, and you need to hear for your baby's cries in the next cave. I don't. That was a terrible example, but you know, I'm trying to like piece together what the evolution thing was that made this happen. I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I mean, most things, do kind of come from that, right? Like,
yeah. Maybe it was just the roaring 20s Cambo.
Even like the idea, like when somebody is scared, the thing is like your hairs stand up on the back of your neck, right, as a reaction. And that's not humans. That's most animals. When they're frightened, their hairs will extend, which apparently is about making your silhouette look bigger. So if there's a predator, like they say, like evolutionary, you want to look bigger than you are to seem more intimidating to a threat. And I'm assuming the cocktail effect must have a similar survival thing of like,
there's something that we haven't pieced together that,
yeah.
Could you imagine that you come up against some sort of predator and you see them and you freak out and your hair stands up on end and they're like, whoa,
I thought you were a little bit smaller than that.
I thought you were like half a millimeter smaller than you actually were. Now that I see that you're a little bit bigger, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I have my limits, and you were exactly on the edge of my limits.
Yeah. I thought I could take you. I thought I could take you. Yeah. I also think hearing in general is really interesting with, you know, like, so there's frequencies that kids can hear that adults can't hear as we get older because we just don't hear that frequency as much. Like we're still kind of born with it, but then we lose it over time.
Yeah.
I always think that's really interesting as well. I remember listening to a doctor talk about, he's like, you can actually kind of keep that hearing, or not even just that, but sort of improve your ambient hearing sense in general. If you just occasionally, like once a day, you sit in a room and you try to actively listen for sounds that are far away. Wow. So, because obviously we're only normally paying attention to stuff around us, but he's like, but like nuanced sound, you know, you're not listening for like the loud car that's 3 streets down. You're listening for like the quiet bird 3 streets down, you know, that sort of distance. And I thought it was interesting, you know, how a lot of the time we come sometimes kind of accept that our bodies, I guess, degrade at a certain rate, but really we can in many ways actively keep those things going and usable.
Yeah, if we just do literally anything about it.
Just literally anything. But also, hearing aids can be. So we've invented a way out of this.
And glasses for vision.
Exactly. All right, Cambo, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, 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 shower thoughts, thoughts, thoughts.
This shower thought was cross-posted to us by Waves of Misery, but originally it was by Random Fail. Trying to speak to wild animals and or completely disconnected human tribes may be the closest thing humans currently have to a real-life simulation of what it might be like to try and speak to aliens. And so far, our performance has been extremely mixed.
Yeah. I honestly, I am scared if aliens came to Earth, humans would be the aggressors 100%.
Oh, yeah.
As a species, we
don't understand you.
Yeah, honestly.
But understand this, knife to the face.
And like, part of me wonders that like if there's intelligent life up there with the ability to monitor, if they're just being like, don't go there. We've been watching them. They won't stop fighting with themselves, let alone something they don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I do think this is, I'm going to say, what's the right word here? It's somebody's thought, hence shower thought, as opposed to probably fact.
Yeah. Well, it's not called shower facts, Nelson.
Not called shower facts, which is assuming we're talking to a species that is equally as intelligent as us. We absolutely can communicate and okay, granted there might be like if we're talking about crazy alien species where they don't speak audibly, then okay, that might be difficult. Although, I mean, we've also got sign language and things like that we can communicate with. Like, I think this person who's had the shower thought has vastly underestimated the ability humans have to communicate with each other. And, like, because it's kind of like, you know, there's natives in lots of countries that still speak their native language, but it's not like nobody doesn't understand that, you know? Like, we've been able to, over time, interpret and learn each other's languages. Like, humans are actually very intelligent. And I know that there's also talks about, in fact, I think we as a human species, sent out some sort of, what do you call it? Like, pod thing in space.
Yep.
And inside that pod was like a message, but the message was crafted by linguists who understood the sort of essence of language that us peasants don't really, haven't studied and don't understand. But there's kind of like rules to language inherently by nature. it's not something that's been invented. It seems like it's been invented because language is invented, but it's like, but lots of different languages have kind of used the same basis to their own sort of language. Anyway, so this like pod that was sent off was meant to be like intelligent life that was as intelligent as humans, at least, would be able to figure out what this message said. Based on kind of that. But again, yeah, I suppose if they spoke with like pheromones, we might struggle.
Yeah.
That's a bit different. Stuff that's like totally wild and out there, sure, we wouldn't be able to get it.
But
I think otherwise we'd actually like language can be communicated pretty easily.
That's the thing. It's like even with all of this, especially like I find it the comparison to tribes weird because they're still human. So just through their lived experience, they will understand another human.
Yeah.
Even if they can't communicate via their spoken language.
Yeah.
It's a spoken language that we all share. Whereas I think a wild animal is closer in this metaphor of like, oh, completely different. Like, do not understand, the basis of being human at all is closer to what you're getting at here. But you're right. It's like, even though the linguists have said this is how we understand language to be and understand the rules of language, like that's also based on what we've experienced in one solar system. It's funny because it could end up being something like, never considered that. Like pheromones, like, never considered that. Damn it. Yep. Okay, this is going to be a lot harder.
Yeah. Definitely if there's like a totally different way to communicate, even if they're just not site-based. We sent a probe with like stuff written down. I don't think that...
honestly. Like, in fact, there's a really great book that delves into it, fiction book, delves into the idea of like, how do you communicate with something otherworldly when your basis for life isn't even the same? It's like water-based life and non-water-based life.
Yeah. Oh, we sent it on paper, Cambo. As soon as that touches water, it's going to be ruined.
So starting, as in like life on Earth is like based around like carbon and water and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you
I was thinking of a water planet, water world, if you will.
Right. But this idea of like, even then they realize, even from the very beginning of both of our evolutions, we have been different. So you would not have developed in the same way.
Yeah.
Like the fact that things are done in units of 5 and 10 normally for humans is because that's our fingers. Like that's how we count more easily. And if something had 3 fingers, then their whole society would be based on versions of 3 instead of 5 and 10.
Yeah.
But that's a really interesting book because it goes into how you would then cross that bridge anyway. Because language can be understood.
Yeah, that's right. There's
anyway, very
behind even
very
the
good
most...
book called Project Hail Mary. I would suggest people read it.
Yeah, that's interesting. But ultimately it doesn't matter because we're going to shoot the aliens as soon as we see them. So like, so long as they bleed, if they bleed, we can kill it. Is what I've heard.
Could you imagine? Well, because their language is like hunting.
Yeah.
He's just trying to communicate.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine if an alien turned up and just spoke English? Like, hey, what's going on? We had so much prepared in case we didn't understand you.
Yeah. All these linguists around the world like, we knew you were coming for 100 years. We did so much research into different languages, and turns out you speak the most common language.
Hey, what are you busting my balls for? You have that phrase too. Oh, interesting.
He's like, yeah, we got balls.
I come from a place called Space, New Jersey. We have one of them. We call it Earth, New Jersey, I guess.
Well, actually, we just call it New Jersey. But I suppose now we will call it Earth, New Jersey. Weird that you call it Space, New Jersey. Does space mean the same thing to you as does us? Yes, it does. We just decided to call it Space, New Jersey.
Someone said, hey, why are you calling it Space, New Jersey? This is just where we live. I said, hey, forget about it,
Anyway, here's another quick one, Cambo.
Okay.
I'll just leave everybody with this. This is by Super Blinky. A 4-way 69 would be a hashtag. Anyway, now it's time for podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped!
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves. We got this written into us by Mooncrab82.
Thank you.
On Reddit. They said, "Gentlemen cunts."
Oh,
I
whoa.
now
Hang on. Whoa,
read-
don't be calling us that. What? That's rude.
What? We have never been called. I now read Reddit posts in an Australian accent in my head. Oh, thanks for the great pod. Ooh, also, I have an idea for podnapping. Guessing the net worth of fictional characters. Did this with my family this weekend, and it was fun. Thanks for the rad pod. A sad American.
Oh, you're welcome, South American. You can now, not only can you now read Reddit posts in Australian accents, but you can now hear alien communication in some kind of broad Jersey accent.
That's how you're going to be. Egg is going to be on your face when you realize that's exactly how they sound. You think we're just being stupid. Well, wait until they come from space news. Anywho, okay, so yes, Mooncrab82 also sent a link to a website. What was it? Forbes or something like that, I think. Let me just yeah, it was Forbes. So they've I don't know. Well, they've got an intern or something to work out the net worth of some people, but I thought that I could turn this into some sort of guessing game. With you. So yeah, pretty broadly, the idea, I guess, is for you to try and think of who the most wealthy fictional character might be. I've got a top 15 list here, and they are wildly different, I would say, in like kind of genre or type of show. Some are cartoons, some are not cartoons. What do you call not cartoons?
I think they're called not cartoons.
Not cartoons. And stuff like that. So, I guess just
Okay.
What do you reckon?
From memory, one of the richest fictional characters, more toward the top than you'd imagine from memory, is one that maybe people don't think of. They think of your Bruce Waynes, your Tony Starks. I believe is Smaug the Dragon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's an interesting one, actually. Not on the list.
Well, then they've not done it very well, have they?
But I'll give you a clue because I figured this is the way that I should sort of do it. The sort of clue is there is also somebody else with, let's say, physical wealth that might be on top of this list that may come to some people's minds.
Yes. Is it Scrooge McDuck?
It is Scrooge McDuck.
Yes, yeah. I've also heard that one. He is, by all estimates, I mean, he's diving into pools of money. That's how rich he is.
He's actually second on this list. And they've got like a little sort of summary here and stuff. I think they update this every year, so they try to provide a like funny running commentary.
Right.
Even though obviously Scrooge McDuck is do they even play DuckTales anymore on TV? I don't know.
There was
any new episodes?
I don't know if there's one currently running, but recently there was one which spawned. Have you never seen the meme Larry on DuckTales?
I don't know. No,
it was an interview with Danny Pudi from Community, plays Abed. He was doing voice on DuckTales. And Scrooge McDuck was who's the Scottish doctor, but not Peter Capaldi? David Tennant. David Tennant was Scrooge McDuck. And one of his kids was played by Danny Pudi. And he was being interviewed on Larry King Live. And Larry King was asking him a question where he said, what are your like expensive little treats that you like? Like, what do you like to splurge money on? And he said, like a a really nice coffee in the morning or something like that. He said, no, I want to know what you like, what you splurge money on, like what's an excess that you want. He's like, oh, I don't know, like, getting new socks all the time or something. And he's like, no, I'm talking like private jets or like, what do you think? And Danny Pretty goes, Larry, I'm on DuckTales. And that's become a meme when someone's out of touch. Someone will reply, Larry, I'm on DuckTales.
Yeah, that's good.
All that to say that there was a current-ish DuckTales at some point.
Okay. Anyway, I will read this little thing here. The quacking caresses saw net worth increase due to record high price of gold. McDuck keeps most of his fortune in gold coins, all piled high inside his Duckburg money bin. Gains were crimped because of money spent having adventures with 3 nephews and bumbling personal pilot. Apologized to stockholders for temporarily abandoning penny-pinching ways. Promises to be stingier in the new year.
Does it say what his net worth is estimated at?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was meant to say that. It is estimated at $33.5 billion.
Okay, so I have done a quick Bing. And in fact, when I look up Smaug net worth, the suggested search is Smaug net worth Forbes. So they've clearly covered it at some point.
Must have been on there at some point, yeah.
But there's actually 2 numbers that have come up. I don't know, maybe one is older. But the first one is 54 billion is the estimate of his gold. And then according to Google's AI, which is famously wrong all the time, said $62 billion.
Yeah, obviously it's nowhere near that.
Yeah.
It's coming from Google's AI. Yeah, right. Interesting. Okay, so for some reason he's dropped off. I guess maybe he was robbed.
I guess those hobbits did rob him, didn't they? The dwarves and the hobbit.
Yeah. So he actually lost billions of dollars.
Yeah, imagine. It's like, oh, well, yeah, that was a fun adventure Bilbo went on. It's like, no, he got like $50 billion.
Yeah. Bilbo's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You know what? I've got so much money, I could buy a new One Ring that rules them all.
Maybe that was where a lot of the $52 billion was coming from. That ring itself was like $30 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
He just took it. No wonder Gollum wants it so bad.
Yeah. He's like, I want to buy a house by the beach. Okay, who else do you reckon might be on this list? So, yeah, that seems wrong that Smaug isn't on here. Especially
is Scrooge McDuck number 1?
He's number 2.
Number 2. Number 1...
I don't think you will inherently come up with number 1.
I'm just
It is very bizarre.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
Can you give me a hint?
Okay. I think you have to think about the type of person that could accumulate wealth over time.
Yeah, so someone ancient-ish, like someone that possibly immortal. Oh, is it the dad from Twilight?
Yes, Carlisle Cullen.
Yeah. I've also heard this before. In which case, the fact that Edward Cullen drives some kind of like sedan Volvo is insane when his dad is the richest man to ever live.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, also, they're like 100-year-old vampires hanging out at a high school. So,
yeah.
They're not really people to look up to, are they, Kevin? It says here, a mortal vampire and small-town doctor has quietly amassed a fortune over 3 centuries. In 1670, he received generous handout from Italian friends, put savings in bank, reaped billions in compound interest, made shrewd long-term investments in steel, gold, oil, thanks to prescience of daughter, turned financial advisor. Alice saw recessions coming, invested early in Walmart, Apple, and doctor's salary for 340 years without paying for groceries, healthcare expenses, avoids sunshine and public displays of wealth, but owns several valuable properties, including yacht, private island, collection of Renaissance art. Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Cullen, number 1, Scrooge McDuck, number 2. Who else would be up there? I'm assuming both of the billionaire superheroes are probably up there. I'm thinking maybe Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne.
Yes. Tony Stark quite a bit. Oh, did I say how much? Carlisle Cullen was
No.
valued at $34.1 billion.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne at $6.5 billion, but Tony Stark at $8.8 billion.
Which,
I feel like that sort of makes sense, maybe.
by the way, like, if they're claiming that Tony Stark can do everything he did with $8 billion, for context, and just to point out how fucking rich Elon Musk is, Elon Musk has like $340 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot of,
and he can't do.
more. Well, he's worth that much.
Well,
but
he's
yes.
worth that much. Yeah. And he can't do any of that. He can't make a suit that flies around.
Yeah, that's because Elon Musk is a Dumbo. So.
Well, we recently had a friend that started listening to our podcast from the beginning, which we do not recommend. And he did message me being like, "Oh man, you guys, you say some stuff about Elon Musk early on." We're like, yeah, you're gonna have to ignore a lot of that. We didn't know.
We're like the Tesla drivers now that have the stickers on the back.
Yeah,
Like, I bought this Tesla before I knew he was crazy. Stuff like that.
Okay, so number 3. Can you give me a hint for number 3? Cartoon or non-cartoon?
What's that?
Cartoon or non-cartoon?
Cartoon. Maybe even started as a comic, actually, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe even just a comic strip, perhaps.
Is it Richie Rich?
It is Richie Rich.
Yeah.
$11.5 billion dollar net worth. So we've got now the top 4, which is a pretty good job. Carlisle Cullen, Scrooge McDuck, Richie Rich, and Tony Stark. Then there's ones that I had to look up who the F they were. 5th is, I don't think you'd get this, Jed Clampett. Do you even know who that is, just off the top of your head?
No.
It's from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, I did wonder whether that could be. I've never actually seen that show or movie, but
neither have I. But I do once I Googled Jed Clampett and said Beverly Hillbillies, I was like, oh yeah, there's like something about them getting oil. I think is the thing there. So and it does say oil and gas for the source of the income. $7.2 billion. You probably know this one, but I had to Google it. Adrian Veidt.
Oh, Veidt from Watchmen.
Veidt?
Yeah.
Yes, from Watchmen.
Yeah.
$7 billion. It says the source of his income was marketing.
Yeah. He like commercializes superheroes. Yeah.
Okay. Then Bruce Wayne. 8 was Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy.
Which I would say famously, Tooth Fairy gives money away.
Yeah, that.
I think, if anything, the Tooth Fairy's in a shit ton of debt. She keeps getting out loans, and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing with the teeth?" And she's like, "One day they'll be worth something, and I've got a lot of them."
Or they're going like, if they can afford to give $1 to every kid, which is billions of kids, imagine how much they must have.
That's true.
If they're just giving that away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's starting to make me think, should I be keeping my teeth, Gambo? Stop giving away the Tooth Fairy. She's obviously making sweet cash off my teeth.
There are certainly less popular characters in media that would be on this list. The TV show Silicon Valley has a character called Gavin Belson he owns essentially their version of Google in the show. But the joke is often that like he's become so out of touch for being a billionaire for so long. But like there are other characters that are just like less, I would say, like pop culturally known.
You say this, but number 15 is Lucille Bluth. So they've really, really gone from one spectrum to the other. Like, I don't know.
How much does Lucille Bluth have? I mean,
they said $950 million.
Okay, I never expected them to be that rich. I thought they were like, very, very well off. But I didn't expect it to be nearly billionaires. So, okay, there you go.
I think real estate is one of those things that's like deceptively, But I would say most billionaires, probably in Australia, we have a lot of mining. Okay,
Yeah.
probably that too. But I'd say otherwise they're all like real estate moguls and
Land
just own tons of land.
Yeah, land and mining, and especially like we have a lot of really huge farms as well. I know that there are people that own like farms that are hundreds of thousands of acres
Yeah.
of land. Yeah, it's all land.
Anyway, okay, I'm going to quickly just go through the rest of the list. Thurston Howe the third. Wait, who's that? I think I had to look that one up. Oh, yeah. This is another one that you probably wouldn't get. Gilligan's Island.
Oh, okay.
Which I would say, if you're not that rich, if somebody hasn't found you yet, you know? If any billionaire on the planet goes missing, somebody's going to find them.
Yeah.
It happened in Richie Rich. Anywho, Sir Topham Hatt. Oh, do you know who this is?
Yeah, that name is familiar. So Topham Hatt.
Really? Okay, I'd never heard of this before.
Why do I know that name? So Topham Hatt. Is it like a Monty Python sketch?
No, it does sound like that kind of a name, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've heard the name.
You might know him by his other nickname, the Fat Controller.
Okay.
The Fat Controller in Thomas the Tank Engine, they've put as like, oh, he's got money.
Well, yeah, he owns an industrial railway, I guess.
$2 billion, they say. Okay. He's worth. That's pretty good. Artemis Fowl.
Yep.
Which is 1.9 million, which I thought was funny. Again, see, they're so like vastly different. They've really thought about a lot of fictional characters, although obviously also some that they have not at all.
Yeah. I mean, Silicon Valley has several billionaires in it. And none of them are on this list.
C. Montgomery Burns.
I wondered about Mr. Burns, yeah.
1.3 billion they've estimated. Chuck Bass, also real
from
estate.
Gossip Girl.
1.1 billion.
Okay. Yep.
And Jay Gatsby.
Yep.
1 billion. And then Lucille Bluth.
Yeah.
Anyway, you did pretty well, I guess.
I would say I'm surprised that for some reason I knew Scrooge McDuck, the Cullen Dad, and Smaug were all at the top of the list. Why was that knowledge in my head? After those three, I would say I was way less.
Yeah,
I knew way less about it. But I individually, I'd heard that all three of those were like, oh no, they're the biggies.
What I'm confused about is why is Carlisle Cullen up the top as opposed to like Dracula?
Yeah, right. Because Dracula just stayed in his little castle and was like, oh, I want
his
woman.
Castle, Cambo.
Yeah, Nelson, singular.
Yeah, true. Excuse me. All right. Oh, that's it for an episode. What about that? What do you think about that, listeners? Don't tell us. Obviously, I don't want your feedback.
I love this closed door policy we have.
But well, you can't get offended at what you don't know. I've always said that. I maintain saying that.
Yeah.
Also, rate us 5 stars. Again, regardless of what you think.
Yeah.
We don't want the feedback.
We don't want a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Just rate it 5 stars.
As soon as you guys start talking to each other
don't talk to each other about this show.
That's when it unravels.
Don't talk to. We want you to simultaneously recommend this show to people, but don't talk to anyone about it.
No, that's it. All right. So that's it for an episode. If you'd like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
You can also reach us at our subreddit or the Discord. The link is in the show notes. And rate the show 5 stars. I've already been over that.
Yeah.
So that's it. All right. Thanks for listening, and we will read you later.